Welcome, everybody, to the latest edition of the Bullpen with Adam the Bull, brought to you by Bet Rivers. If you're not using the Bet Rivers app, you're missing out. Great deals, parlays, whatever you're looking for, we've got you covered. So if you're not using the Bet Rivers app, well, start using it today. I'm telling you. And we got some other things coming on the app and the website coming up over the next few weeks that I'll be able to tell you about. Today on the program, we talk with Shaun King, former NFL quarterback. He knows something about getting to the playoffs. His Buccaneers, they're out. The Browns, we know, are out, of course. And coming up this weekend, or not this weekend, but coming up next weekend, of course, will be the Super Bowl, and it's the Chiefs and Eagles. We'll talk a little bit about that with him. And, of course, we'll spend a lot of time on the Browns, the draft, the quarterback situation. And if he doesn't think the Browns should take a quarterback, then what player should they take? We'll get into all of that with Shaun King coming up next, right here in the Bullpen with Adam the Bull.
You're watching Adam the Bull on the Bet Rivers Network.
Welcome back into the Bullpen. Joining me now, we had some feisty times on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show this year. It was always a lot of fun talking to my guy, Shaun King, former NFL quarterback. Shaun, it's been a few weeks. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Still football going on. Unfortunately, my Bucks are saying, and the Browns are both gone fishing now. So, but
the Browns have been gone fishing for a while.
But I mean, we got something to behold. Can the Chiefs be the first organization in NFL history to three-peat?
I tell you, it's amazing. It's so funny because when I don't know how you feel about it as a former player. I'm guessing it's different, but when the Chiefs first started getting good with Mahomes and Andy Reid, I was rooting for them, especially when they were playing the Patriots, because I was sick of the Patriots. Well, now I'm sick of the Chiefs, so I was rooting, for either Baltimore or Buffalo to beat them, and then, they couldn't get it done. But it's crazy. They just find a way every time.
And what'll be, to me, like the exclamation point, I'm pulling for them to win it, is the team that won the first of this three-peat and this team are so drastically different.
Yeah.
They were a high-flying, high-scoring team initially, especially when they won the first one under Mahomes. I know they've been to 4 or 5. And now they're really a defense, run the ball. Mahomes make a big play on third down kind of team. And they found a way to be excellent at both of them. Shout out, hat tip to Andy Reid and his staff. They're doing a great job.
Unreal. Well, to your point, 2 years ago, they had Tyreek Hill. Mm-hmm. And then they lose Tyreek Hill. And everybody's like, well, that's going to kill him. It did not. It's no offense to Tyreek Hill, but it's been a non-factor.
Right. And it's been a revolving door of names. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Juju Smith-Schuster, Hollywood Brown, DeAndre Hopkins. Noah Fant, all kind of names.
And it looked like Rashee Rice was going to be their big breakout star, and then he gets hurt.
Yeah.
Isaiah Pacheco missed most of the season at running back.
Cleveland Browns threw away Kareem Hunt, and now he looks like a lead back for a Super Bowl champion team. Shout out to the Browns personnel division.
In fairness, come on, we argued about this earlier. Kareem Hunt wasn't helping the Browns win any games. He's better on a team like Kansas City, no?
Hey, all I know is the Browns didn't think he was good enough, and the Chiefs did, and he's an integral part of what they're doing. Runs the ball hard, gets down, finishes runs. Just saying.
It is wild that nobody wanted him at the beginning of the year. And then, Pacheco gets hurt and they bring him in. And, he was an explosive back when he first came into the league. He's not that guy anymore. Now he's this tough, I'm at the goal line. Give me the ball. I'll get you in the end zone. That's what he's become. He's transitioned.
I root for guys that have made a public mistake that fight back to adversity and get their career back online. He was a pretty damn good back until that video surfaced to him and that young lady. And then he kind of, had to play in the shadows for a little bit. But, hey, I'm happy for him. Chiefs are excellent. I do think they beat Philly. We'll see.
All right. Well, what's your take on Jalen Hurts? What do you think about him?
This is an interesting one because he's a flawed quarterback. He's very uncomfortable in the pocket, getting through his progressions and throwing the ball with anticipation. Mm-hmm. He's much better when it's man-to-man coverage. He can predetermine before the snap and that first read is open. So if Kellen Moore can get him into situations like that, I think he'll be successful. But of course, you know about his athleticism. I just wish he threw the ball better from the pocket on a more consistent basis. There was an instance in the game yesterday, and I was watching the game. Watching the game with me is a brilliant occasion. Anybody that's watched the game will tell you. So Brady actually did a good job of diagramming it well. He had A.J. Brown in man-to-man coverage with no safety help. A.J. beats the guy off the line of scrimmage and ran a go route. And Jalen's looking at him, and he just wouldn't pull the trigger. Like, that's your best receiver one-on-one. Give him a shot. And like, it's just little things like that keep me from being a super huge fan of Jalen, but you can't argue with the success.
We've seen running backs make big impact. Derrick Henry. We've seen Nick Chubb in the past. We've seen Christian McCaffrey in the past. I don't think for a long time there's been a running back that has had this much impact on winning as Saquon Barkley. Is that fair or not?
100%. And he should be the NFL MVP this year. He won't win it because they always give it to a quarterback. He'll probably win NFL Offensive Player of the Year. That's an argument for another day. How in the hell can the MVP, if he's an offensive guy, not be Offensive Player of the Year? That doesn't make any sense, NFL. But Saquon was that good from start to finish. I thought he was the best player in football.
Yeah, I mean, what's funny is Jamar Chase had an all-time wide receiver season. He's got no shot of winning the Offensive Player.
Right.
And he had an all-time season at wide receiver, winning the Triple Crown there. But, yeah, Barkley's about to – I can't remember now if he did it this past week or he's about to break most rushing yards in a season, including the playoffs, which Terrell Davis was actually first and second on that list. But Barkley either broke it this past week or is about to. I can't remember now off the top of my head. But
I wish he would have went ahead and played that final week. I mean, it looks brilliant now, but he still doesn't look completely healthy. Every so often in the game, he's got that massager on his calf. But I wish he would have broke the record because of how significant of a record it is. Like, I was talking to some guys like Eric Dickerson holds the record. Eric Dickerson played with a neck roll, a Jerry curl, and ski goggles. Like, that's how long ago Dickerson did this. So, I mean, there's a lot of damn good running backs have come through the NFL since then. And nobody's broken the record. I wish Saquon would have went ahead and broke the record. That would have been a special achievement for him.
But the record, so you're not looking at the record, including the playoffs, as being different?
Nah.
You're not down with that?
Yeah.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about the Browns. And I want your take. I don't know, how much time you put into the college quarterbacks.
A lot.
Okay. So the Browns are picking at 2. Obviously, if they want one of the 2 names being mentioned, I don't know that you think they're the 2 best guys. Well, first of all, who do you think? Who's the best 2 quarterbacks in your mind in this draft?
So I always have to put context when I answer these questions.
Okay.
If they were in last year's draft, they might be the 6th and 7th quarterback taken.
Ooh, okay.
Remember last year, it went Caleb, Jaden, Drake May, Bo Nix, Michael Penix.
McCarthy. And McCarthy?
I mean, McCarthy, too.
Yeah.
So it was 6 of them, right?
Yeah.
So they would have been 6 or 7.
Okay.
They're not in the same stratosphere as Jaden Daniels, from a perspective standpoint, in my opinion. But all you got to do is be the best guy in the year you come out, a la a Kenny Pickett, and you can go in the first round. So
let's hope they're not Kenny Pickett's if the Browns draft them.
I just think they're less talented versions of Caleb Williams.
Okay.
They play the same kind of style of football at that position. A lot of their success is extending plays, running around, throwing the ball back across the field. Both of them can be very careless with the ball. I don't know. I wouldn't, if I was the Browns, let me just answer it specific to the Browns.
Okay.
You cannot, and let me repeat this again. You cannot bring a rookie quarterback into an organization that still has Deshaun Watson on the roster. That's a complete disservice to the rookie.
Well, Watson's essentially gone. He's not technically gone. Why do you say that?
Well, because you want that kid to have a fresh start.
Yeah.
You don't want that big contract, that big shadow standing around being a part of his development. Because if he doesn't play well, then people are going to be like, what? We should play Deshaun.
Deshaun, though, is hurt, though. I don't know if he's going to play this year.
Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah.
Still, I want to get rid of everything attached to Deshaun Watson before I brought a young quarterback into the organization, especially if I'm going to invest a top 5 draft pick to do it.
Especially when, in your case, it doesn't seem like you think they're worthy of it.
No, I don't think either one of those guys is better for the Browns than Jameis Winston. I would 100% believe that.
In the long term, or just, obviously in the short term, sure, but in the long term?
Yeah, I don't think either one's more talented than Jameis.
All right, then if that's the case, then I wouldn't draft either of them.
Right.
So Travis Hunter?
If Travis Hunter's there, you take Travis Hunter.
And how would you use him?
I would play him as a full-time receiver, and I would play him in special situations on defense. 2 minutes before the half, at the end of the game when you need him. If we're playing a team that's got multiple, like we're playing the Bengals, and they re-signed T. Higgins, like those kind of things, like I'd spot play him. Okay.
But you think, is it just because you value wide receiver more, or because you think he's better at that position?
I think he's better at wide receiver.
Okay. And do you think he's good? And you think he's going to be a special, an elite guy?
I think he's got a chance to be special at wide receiver.
If by some chance Travis Hunter goes 1, who else who at the top of the draft is on your board right now?
So at this point, and I have not fully done a deep dive at all the positions.
Yeah.
If I'm the Browns, the first thing I got to decide is, do we think with a great offseason we can compete to win the division? I think they got to internally make that decision, because to me, that impacts everything else. If we decide that we don't have the cap space, we don't have the stomach to overpay for T. Higgins and some of these guys are going to be free agents, let's truly start the rebuild. And to me, that plays a role into what you do at 2.
Sure. Yeah, no doubt.
Because you can go offensive lineman, the kid from LSU, the kid from Texas, both have highly regarded by others. This is not me validating these guys, and I haven't done the deep dive yet. I tend to wait till after the combine when I got legitimate height and weights and, all of that stuff. Because some of it you can't tell when you watch a film.
Okay.
Do you bring Abdul Carter in to kind of replace Myles Garrett if you were to get rid of, I think that's the first thing they have to do is decide, what do we want to do? Do we want to try and go all in and make one more push, or do we want to do what's probably best for the organization long term, which is strip it down and rebuild it?
I think it's unlikely that the Browns are a division contender. What do you think?
I think unlikely because of the division.
Yeah, right.
Right. You still got Lamar and Joe Burrow, and we'll see what Pittsburgh does at quarterback. But it's a very difficult division. That's what I'm saying. You make decisions to appease Myles Garrett because he wants to win, but you're still probably not good enough to get it done. They need help at receiver. They need help at running back. They need O-line enhancements and a quarterback. The only position they're probably solid at is tight end, to be honest.
What did you think? I know you were complimentary on UCSS of Jerry Jeudy.
I like Jerry Jeudy.
Now, he had all his success with Jameis. Obviously, Jameis was the only one that gave him any good quarterback play. But how good is Jerry Jeudy? In other words, do you look at him?
Showed, if when given a chance, he can be, one of those 1B guys. And I say that because I think he can be a 1, but he's not Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase. He's
right.
But he showed he can be A.J. Brown, that kind of impact. So he's a legit player, but you got to get better around him.
I know it's kind of hard to project going forward, but I'll ask you early, even though it's way, way, way too early. But everybody seems to think right now, and I know there's a lot of groupthink, and I know you don't believe in groupthink, which is cool. So I wanted to ask you this. It seems like that the quarterbacks in the 2026 draft appear to be led by, I guess, Arch Manning, and maybe it's just because of his name. I don't know. Maybe he's really worth it. But do you see him or anybody else that coming out the following year?
I think
that if you're the Browns and you blow it up this year and you're trying to get one of those guys, or you can't really think that way too far ahead?
I think the kid from BYU is really good. I thought it's a Metzloff or something like that.
I think it's,
Yeah, I think he's really good. I think we're going to find out how good Archman is. Remember, Arch hasn't really played yet. He filled in here or there for Quinn, but Sark being loyal to Quinn Ewers probably cost Texas a national title, too, because they were as talented as Ohio State. They just played the wrong quarterback, in my opinion. But, I mean, the rest of those guys got to prove it. I mean, hell, we thought Carson Beck at the beginning of this year would be a number one pick. He played so bad, he stayed in school. I mean, these guys got to emerge. They got to go out. They got to do it. There's some young guys. Darian Mensah, who transferred from Tulane to Duke. You know, there's some guys that are there now, but they still got a big jump. I don't think there's a prohibitive guy outside of. I love the kid from BYU.
Yeah, and as someone who's Jewish, I'd like to see him make it because there hasn't been a Jewish quarterback in the NFL in forever. We're not very well represented in the end. I think the last Jewish quarterback may have been Jay Fiedler. He wasn't any good. I don't think we've ever had a good Jewish quarterback. So give me one. I thought Josh Rosen. He turned out to be a scrub. He stunk. He was the worst player.
Well, didn't he go number one to Arizona? And then they drafted Kyler Murray the following year?
I mean, how bad do you suck if they draft you in the first round as a quarterback and then they draft another guy in the first round the next year? That's about as bad. That's as bad as
tough world out here, boy. Tough world.
Shaun, when you're a rookie quarterback in the NFL, what is obviously a ton of tough things about that, but what is the toughest of everything that you had to adjust to from college to the pros? What was the toughest thing for you?
For me, nothing was tough in the moment.
Okay.
When I look back on it, it was expectation that ultimately got me fired. And you have to be careful when you look at the success Jaden Daniels had and CJ Stroud the year before and start holding all the rookies to that same expectation. Like normally as a rookie, now this group, these guys are a little different because of COVID. A lot of these guys are 24, 25, whereas I was 21 coming into the league. So these guys are a little older. So they're a little more mature, but you just have to be careful with managing expectations on a rookie. Like, you got to be honest with your fan base. You got to be honest with your owner. You know, like, if we're going to play the rookie, then we can't get upset when negative things happen or we get negative results because it's a part of the development of said rookie turning into a franchise quarterback. Look, Carolina almost blew it with Bryce Young.
It's a good point. He played great the second half of the year.
But they had given up on him. Remember? If Andy Dalton doesn't get in that car crash with his family, Bryce maybe doesn't even play anymore. So you just got to have that long-term prism, but you got to be honest with your fan base on your owner.
Yeah.
You got to listen, we're going to play the young kid. We're going to be patient with him. And then they got a chance to be successful. But if you're Chicago and you draft Caleb Williams and you're telling your fan base, we think we're going to win the division now, and we're a 10-plus win team, like those expectations are unreasonable.
You know, it's funny that you say it. It's a great point because you think about C.J. Stroud. He didn't have a bad year this year. It just wasn't as good as his rookie year.
Made the playoffs, won a division.
Right. If you flipped his years, everybody, now it seems like everybody's down on C.J. I'm like, I still think he's a top 10 quarterback, definitely. But everybody's down on him because he wasn't quite as good. But I expect him to plow forward again next year. But you're right. When you have that early success, man, and it's going to say same thing with Jaden Daniels, as you said. I mean, any drop off, people are going to be like, wow, maybe he was a 1 year wonder. That's going to all start.
Man, it's a hard game. And to prove it's a hard game, none of the big dogs have been big dogs in the playoffs. Like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, none of these guys are just lighting it up.
No, that's true. That's fair.
Like
it's not putting up huge numbers.
100 and some yards against the Ravens and then 237. I mean, Mahomes is meandering around 200 every game. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a tough position in 2025.
Yeah, I think people are overly critical of Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen because they haven't been able to beat Patrick Mahomes, and I get it. But to be fair, Patrick Mahomes is Andy Reid. Those guys don't.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I think Lamar and Josh Allen are great, but everybody wants to just crap all over him, shit all over him as soon as especially when they lose to Mahomes. I mean, I get you're right. Josh Allen didn't put up huge numbers, but he wasn't the reason they lost.
Absolutely not. But I'm just saying, it'd be different to me if Lamar or Josh Allen had played an MVP type game in the playoffs.
No, you're right.
And they haven't.
Right. No, that certainly they didn't this year. I think Josh Allen has played a few.
Speaking of this year.
Yeah. This year, neither one did. No, you're 100%. I mean, when they beat Baltimore, his numbers were nothing.
Right. He threw for like 100 and some yards. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Those are guys that we know are elite, that have proved time and time again what they're capable of. And it's times where it's tough. So I'm just saying, we were talking rookie quarterbacks. If they can stub their toe, then you damn sure better believe a young kid in this league is going to have stretches where, he's not playing great football either. But that's a part of the process. People forget that Josh Allen sat behind Tyrod Taylor initially, and then they gave him a starting quarterback job, and he wasn't very good at first.
That's true. That's true. In general, are you in most situations, would you lean towards sitting a rookie quarterback his first year? No,
I think you just got to manage the expectations. I want to play him.
Okay.
I don't
week 1, or would you rather play him like week 3 or 4? Just week 1.
Week 1. Let's go. Because I know how to evaluate the quarterback position. And so I'm not going to do is ever reach. I don't care what my need is on the current team. I'm not going to reach and attach a valuable asset to a player that I know is deficient. See, when you do that, you still have a hole at quarterback.
It's so funny that you say that, because every year at the draft, the guys on TV are like, well, they just filled a hole at blah, 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 whatever position. And I'm like, well, no, they didn't fill a hole until we know that guy's good.
Right.
The guy whose hole he's filling, that doesn't sound good, we thought he had filled a hole when he was drafted. So it's a great point. And it's amazing how even football people in the NFL get it wrong a lot.
The San Francisco 49ers moved up in the draft to take Trey Lance.
Yeah. You thought he was going to be no good? You didn't believe in him at all?
Again, he had no shot to succeed in San Francisco. San Francisco was expected to be a Super Bowl contending team. How are you going to take a kid that's barely played a full year at North Dakota State, that's raw, raw playing the quarterback position, and put him in that pressure cooker? That never was going to work.
That's fair. And you look at, it's a good point. Like Joe Burrow started right away in Cincinnati, but as hyped as he was, the Bengals had been terrible the year before. So there wasn't crazy expectations for him to have team success at least the first year. And that does help. And
they were good. I mean, he had Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Joe Mixon. So he got some dudes.
Right. Is there a quarterback in this draft, from what you've done so far, that's going to get drafted later that you think could, in the right circumstances, turn out to be a good quarterback?
I'm going to come back on your show closer to the draft and have definitive answers from my film study. But off the top of my head, I know there's some whispers that people kind of like the kid at Ole Miss, Jackson Dart, a little bit.
Okay,
but I have not done the full deep dive. And when I do, I'll have the unfiltered truth for you.
I like it. We'll bring you back. Shaun, great stuff as always, man. Thanks for taking the time.
Hey, man, love you guys. Love Cleveland. Don't feel bad. Bucks is fishing too, man. Hopefully we get a great Super Bowl down in the city of New Orleans.
Thanks, Shaun.
All right, see you later.
All right, everybody, thanks for joining me today. Thanks to Shaun King for joining me today. Great chatting with him. If we take his advice, the Browns should not draft a quarterback in this draft. So either I hope he's wrong, or the Browns shouldn't take a quarterback if he's right, certainly. Thanks to Max and Z for producing today. Thanks all of you for listening and watching. Talk to you next time. Where else but right here in the Bullpen with Adam the Bull, brought to you by Bet Rivers. See you, everybody.